Hi everyone, how's everyone doing here today? And happy Halloween. And here I am walking through the park in some pretty hot weather in full Indiana Jones, cosplay gear. Probably not the best because I'll admit it is pretty hot, but at least I like the hat that it covers the bald spot. But like I said, it's pretty hot out there. I didn't really want to talk about Halloween. I wanted to talk about something recently which I've mentioned before, but it became even more evident now, and many of us have seen it, but it's a question of how the MAGA crowd feels about it. And when I put out some posts making some harsh criticism as to what happened at Madison Square Garden at Trump's silly rally, or Klan rally as we should call it, because it was fully laced with racism, misogyny, xenophobia, anti-Semitism, transphobia, you name it. It was just very hateful, very disgusting, and to Trump, that is a gathering of love, same as January 6th. Let's be real here. And what I posted was saying the front page cover of the Daily News describing it in such a way as well, and saying, watch my MAGA friends come out and twist themselves into mental gymnastics to defend it. And sure enough, like clockwork, that's exactly what they did. Making excuses, the usual thing. It wasn't like that. It was just the one comedian. It was just a joke. You took it out of context. All the excuses. It's like, come on, give me a break. But then, when I pointed that out, and a couple of friends of mine, more like associates, not like people I've known on and off, but that we still share content on social media, is that some of them responded with some pretty vileness and just regurgitating a lot of anti-immigration talking points that they've heard from Donald Trump. And the one feeling I got was not angry, not disgusted, but just disappointed. I'm reading this and I'm saying, this is not you. I know you. I don't know you that well as some others, but we've met, we've hung out, we talked before, and you were never like this back then. What's changed? How is it? Was the racism already there? Or is it something that they picked up on by listening to Trump's lies over and over again? And the one thing I will say about MSG is real simple. This is not America. That is not what America is. Okay? And it's not just that one rally, it's all the stuff that we've heard time and time again. You even see Trump winding down, and somebody made a point on Midas Touch, Ben Marsalis, saying that this is kind of like what Trump really wants. Does he want to be president? No, that means because he has to work and make decisions and do things that he doesn't really want to do. At the moment, he only wants a presidency to keep do away with his legal woes, and then just go on stupid rallies where he just is there to gratify himself and everything, and he just doesn't want to be president of the United States. He doesn't have a plan. As Kamala Harris said, it's like, I have a to-do list. He has a vendetta list. She worded it a little differently, but overall she is absolutely right. He doesn't have any plans for the American people. I've seen some of his other gatherings and the things he likes to talk about is demonizing immigration, and also, once again, in our schools they're, giving sex change operations to your kids without parent consent. That's all a lie. None of that happens. But he likes to keep repeating it, and as he once said, if you repeat the lies over and over again, people start to believe it, and that just drums up a lot of hatred. It drums up a lot of division. This is not what America is. Okay? Yeah, there were some bad things that happened in the past, wars, slavery, and Jim Crow, all that other stuff, but we've evolved over the years. Now, is everything perfect? No. Is there still progress that needs to be made? Absolutely. And there always will be. There's always going to be an opportunity where we can better ourselves. But the only way to do that is to work together to do it. And if all you're doing is just listening to vile people, not just Trump, Trump is just like one of the symptoms. I wouldn't exactly call him the disease, but when he says vile things and do things, after a while you got to say to yourself, is this really the America I want to live in? When Lara Trump had some boat parade, you had one boat that was prominently displaying swastikas, neo-Nazis. Is that really the type of America you want in the future? Because that's what you're going to get under a Trump presidency. Where you're going to have more of these rallies just spewing hate, where you're going to have acts of violence occur, where you're going to have hate crimes going up, okay? It's not going to get better, it's not going to improve, and that's not going to unify the country. And it is a pathway to fascism. Now, I know what some of you are going to say, oh, you said fascist, that's going to bring violence against Trump. Yeah, they threw that at me too when I regarded some of the politicians, the speakers at Madison Square Garden, as degenerates, because that's exactly what they are. You don't want to be called a fascist? Fine. Stop, referencing talking points from Hitler. Stop saying, I want all my generals to be like Hitler's generals. Stop using his rhetoric. You don't want to be labeled a racist? Fine. Stop saying and doing racist things. Stop trying to demonize immigration and try and focus on a solution. But that's what these people do, and the cult following just goes for it. And some of them, sadly, like I said, are just fully committed, where they're saying, yeah, we're a cult, we don't mind. They don't care if the country slips into fascism. I do care. And I think there are some of you that are redeemable. I really do. But the way to do that is to work together. And as I mentioned, like when I was doing phone banking and canvassing, I actually, not a whole lot, but I did talk to some Republican voters who weren't like full-blown MAGA, just screaming and getting mad and, just putting out all racism, misogyny, and bigotry. Okay, some of them actually had certain things that they wanted to say, and I listened and I gave them some feedback. In the back of my mind, I knew, yeah, they're going to keep supporting Trump or they're going to keep voting Republican. Okay. But eventually you got to come to a point where you say, is this really the America I want to live in? By voting Republican, you're going to vote for Donald Trump and slide us towards fascism. And you're going to see more of events like MSG. You're going to see more of, hate groups prominently raising their flags around and stuff at rallies and stuff. You're going to see a more increase in hate crimes. And I know the other thing that some of my MAGA friends are going to say, they're going to go for the whataboutism, or they're going to try and create a false equivalency. Say, Kamala Harris does it too. Yeah, like I said, she called him a fascist because that's what he is, that's what he acts like, okay? And you see the double standard happen again, When Donald Trump has said the word, has called Kamala Harris fascism, Marxist, communist, radical left, doesn't even know what those terms mean, but he knows they're buzzwords that get his base energized, so he likes to throw him red meat. Do you see Fox complaining? Do my friends who are MAGA, do they say anything like that? No, suddenly they got nothing to say. Trump does it, it's okay, because they grade Trump on a curve and they like the double standard. Kamala Harris says fascism, look at this, stirring up violence and everything and stuff like that. Has there been an assassination attempt on Kamala Harris? No. But some people like Elon Musk had put it out why not encouraging the violence almost. And one thing people don't realize is that I'm sure she gets death threats. Obama, Michelle Obama, they've gotten death threats, even though they've called out Trump on some of his rhetoric. And of course, the right, does their usual hypocrisy, double standard, complaining. When Nancy Pelosi's husband got assaulted, Donald Trump made jokes about that. Did Fox complain or say anything? Did any of my friends, anyone on the right, say anything? No, it's a joke. It's a big joke. In other words, what you're saying is we're okay with the violence as long as it's occurring against Democrats, as long as it's occurring against liberals. Happens to one of us, one of the people that we support, up to and including Donald Trump. Yeah, wrong. Look at this. The radical left, their violence and everything. Donald Trump says it, or, MAGAs go out there and commit acts of violence. Crickets. Donald Trump says fascist and everything. Crickets. Kamala Harris says fascist. Oh, look, she's drumming up violence, this and that. And like I said, to be clear, I don't approve of violence of any kind, up to and including assassination attempts, even if it's against a candidate that I support. Yes, I've spoken out. I've said some vile things against Donald Trump. That's against him, not the people that support him. There's a big distinction, and people have questioned me on that distinction. And I say, no, I'm not encouraging violence, and I'm not calling Trump supporters degenerates. But the ones that do commit acts of violence, that go around trashing Kamala Harris signs, that like to use threats and intimidation, those are your troublemakers. Those people you can call degenerates. And why? Because that's not what America is. You can't have it both ways. You can't say I'm opposed to the violence, but then when it happens to somebody that you're opposed to, that you just turn a blind eye, that you don't say anything. And silence, inaction, is in itself an action. It is not America, okay? America is about diversity, it's about unity, and it's about, learning more of the ways of other people and educating, but most importantly, working together. Okay, so you're worried about the border, you're worried about immigration. You know who's not worried about it? Donald Trump. Because if he was, he wouldn't have gotten in the way of the bipartisan solution that was, put on the table when Joe Biden was still more upfront and Kamala Harris wasn't the candidate yet. But nope, he needed something to run on because he had no policies. He still doesn't have any policies. You're asking questions about what he's going to do about like the minimum wage or the inflation or the economy, and it's just word salad and just the usual lies that, oh, everything was so great under my administration. Not true. No one had a better economy than I did. Not true. Nobody knows how to fix this. Not true. You guys keep believing the lies because you want to believe it, because you're in the cult. Okay? You guys don't seem to mind the violence as long as it's, you got your side the one that's committing acts of violence. It is not America. The only way we're going to achieve a higher form of America is by working together. I get that you're still going to have hate groups. There's always going to be a certain degree of racism, unfortunately. It's a human nature thing, a desire to want to hate someone just because of the color of their skin. But when you got people that advocate it, that spread lies, that lead to violence, like eating animals and stuff like that, stuff about, Democrats controlling hurricanes, then you're on the wrong side of history. If you're somebody who feels, I got to join a hate group to show what my patriotism is, that's not patriotism. You're on the wrong side of history. Racism is not patriotic. Xenophobia is not patriotic. Political violence is not patriotic. And if there are Democrats out there that do it, that you have isolated incidents, I say that's wrong too. It is not patriotic and they should be held accountable. But you got to want to strive for that America. And voting for a fascist wannabe, a person who says he wants to be dictator and use the military and law and order to go after political opponents to settle vendettas, is not thinking about your interests. And he's not for the working class. As I've just said, I got to keep repeating it. He says, his little conversation with Elon Musk, be more than happy to fire people who are on strike that have a right to do that. Doesn't want to give out, overtime. Doesn't want to do anything about minimum wage. When pressed with those questions, both him and J.D. Vance, they dodge the question. They don't answer. Why? Because they don't care about the working class. I do. I believe Kamala Harris does. So that's why I'm supporting her. She doesn't stoke violence. She speaks out against political violence. And calling somebody a fascist when they act like a fascist, calling somebody a racist when they act like a racist, that's not stoking violence. That's calling it for what it is and to show how flawed it is, in that it is not patriotic and un-American. I keep saying those things, but I got to keep repeating those things so they start to sink in. And like I said, there are some people in MAGA where no matter what, they're going to keep following their cult leader till the end. They will jump off a cliff with them. I get it. And that will be your undoing, unfortunately, because you're voting against your best interests. I've talked about that as well. So I want to vote for candidates who do think about our best interests. So you still have an opportunity to switch. Nobody knows what goes on in a ballot box. You could easily go in there and wear a MAGA hat and vote for Kamala. No one's ever going to know. And like I said, when Kamala Harris wins, Trump's going to scream, vote for it and do what he can. Don't give in to the violence. Don't go out and commit crimes, because then it will be on you. January 6th is not patriots. Those are domestic terrorists. That is not patriotism. Trying to intimidate people is not patriotism. You are committing acts of domestic terrorism. We can work together to fix this. The only way to do that is, like I said, to talk to each other. And I'm always happy to talk to voters on both sides. We may not agree on everything, but there are, common grounds that we can find that can lead to solutions. But the only way to do that is to put in leaders that want to solve it. And somebody who says he just wants to be a dictator and is just going to continuously lie to you and just bring bigotry to the table is not looking out for your best interests. He's not looking out for America. And yet, say it again, he is not a patriot. In fact, he is as un-American as can be. And for the friends of mine that keep spewing this foul stuff, you guys got to do some soul searching, because, some of you I know, friends and family that weren't like this, you have to make that change. I can't do it for you. I can only call it out. And if you're going to deny it, then it's on you. So, you want to unfriend me? You don't want to watch my content? That's fine. That's your choice. But you can't take away the fact that a lot of things you're seeing on the left, on the right, is wrong. That thing at MSSG was wrong. That the lies that Trump puts out is wrong. And it's not America. It's not the America I want to live in. And I don't think it's the America that the majority of America wants to live in. So, anyway, thank you for watching. I really hope you understand.